Hi, it's Kirsten from Be Well Physiotherapy here with a short movement practice intended to help you feel lighter and more connected. And the way we go about doing that is through um, nurturing our responsive core. So let's begin right away. We're going to start standing up, just standing. And I just would ask you to feel what you feel. How light do you feel? How heavy do you feel? So simply checking in with the physical sensations of your body and notice what you notice. Great. Okay. We will be coming back to this standing position to check in with how you're feeling as we move through this practice. The first movement or activity we'll do to help increase the responsiveness of your core is with breath. So you can lay down on your back, any comfortable position lying on your back. And I'd ask you to notice your breath. Where is it moving in your torso? So the muscles that control the volume, the size of our torso, are the ones that create breath for us. So that as the volume of our torso expands, opens, we draw breath in. And as those muscles relax and we settle and contract back in slightly, we exhale. So where do you feel your torso moving with your breath? And then I'd ask you to get quite specific, quite directive with your breath. And I'd like you to bring your breath up into your chest so that your rib cage, the muscles that control the expansion and relaxation of your rib cage, are working to draw your breath up into your ribs and your chest. So as you inhale, ribs and chest will expand, will lift up and out. And as you exhale, really let it be passive. No forcing the breath out, no pulling your ribs back down towards your navel. Just simply on the exhales, let your ribs and your chest gently, naturally, easily come back to rest. Inhales, ribs and chest open. Exhale, easy, relax. Take 4 more of those breaths. Good. Lovely. Let's stand back up, back into our standing pose, just to have an opportunity to check in with how you feel. and feel what you feel. Notice what's there to be noticed. What's changed in your standing, just the way you are standing, now that you've done a few focused breaths? Great. So the next movement we'll come and pay some attention to our feet. So if you can have a seat on a chair would be great. If you want to sit on the floor, that's fine too. And then just bringing one foot into your hand and bringing your thumbs onto the bottom of your foot. Fingers will wrap around the top of your foot. And then just massaging your foot by almost splaying and then closing the sole of your foot, as if the sole of your foot were like a book that you can open and then close, working your way from the balls of your toes, the balls of your feet, down more into your forefoot, where the long bones run down your foot. Open, close, and then into the midfoot, getting closer and closer to your heel, to your ankle here. Just open and close. Here it may be more like you're just running your thumbs along the tissues on the sides of the base of your foot. Good. And then when you do get to your heel, just cup your heel with your hand and just circling your heel around ever so gently. So your ankle will move, your toes may make a circle, circling around in both directions. Wonderful. Then bringing your fingers and interlace your fingers between your toes. So for some, you may be able to get your fingers right down into the web of your toes. That's great. For some, there may be a little more restriction, a little more limitation in the tissues to allow your toes to spread apart. So if your fingers stay up higher, that's fine too. Just try to get a little bit of space between your toes and then just circling your foot around using the hand that's between the toes. Great. And then just gently pressing your toes back. Your ankle will move as well. Good. Stay with your nice, easy breath. Good. And let's switch sides. So we'll cross the other foot over, coming back into our opening and closing of the book on your foot. Starting at the balls, moving down through the forefoot, wiggling the long bones in your foot. Open, close, open, close. Working your way slowly but surely until you get to that point just before your heel, just before the skin kind of changes color on the base of your foot. Wonderful. Then once you're there, cupping your heel gently, you can give it a little squeeze and then circling from the heel in one direction and then in the other. Keep choosing easy breath. Letting the ribs and chest expand and relax with each exhale. Good. Then fingers in between your toes. And circling your foot around with the fingers and toes leading the way. And then finally, pressing the toes back. Easy breath. Easy, easy. Wonderful. Let's come back up to standing. And how do you feel? Do you feel a little lightness as your feet are now a little more pliable, a little more accepting of the ground reaction forces? Feet a little more capable of absorbing and transferring the rebound of us standing on the earth pushes back up on us. Can you feel that lift as your feet are a little more capable to transfer that now? Wonderful. We'll come down, lying on your backs. If you have a strap or a light blanket or a scarf, that would be great. We're going to use that for this portion. So laying down once again, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And we'll bring your arms just up overhead, holding the strap so your hands are held about shoulder width apart. And check in with your torso, your ribs. Let your breath move your torso, your ribs. So if we brace or hold through our core in any way, our breath will be affected. We won't be able to inhale as fully, and we certainly won't be able to relax those muscles and allow a gentle, easy exhale. So our core becomes braced when we hold our breath, or when we hold our breath, our core is braced. It goes both ways. So the movement we're going to play with is to just gently bring your arms back overhead as far as you can go. Now my limited space has me just bumping into the foot of the bed here, but maybe your arms can come all the way overhead. And then you'll come back to hands over your shoulders once again. And as you do this movement, can you check in, keep a feel in your torso for when you brace, or if you brace at all, through your abdomen, through your ribs, through your chest. And if you feel that bracing at all, then just do a little bit less. We want our cores to be responsive. They need to stay pliable. The tissues in our core and our torso need to stay pliable. So let's work in a range of shoulder movement here that allows your core to respond, so that you can feel when the core muscles engage gently, softly to support you, and when they can relax and turn off as the challenge decreases. Notice how your core responds to this movement. Lovely. We'll let the strap come off to the side. We won't need it anymore. And we'll move from a shoulder movement in order to help us feel our responsive core down to our hips and our pelvis. So we'll move from the hip joint. Your feet right now are about hip distance apart, and the soles of your feet are flat on the ground. As you rotate the thigh bone in the hip socket so that your knees move away from one another, you'll notice that you roll out onto the little toe side of your foot as your knees come wide. And then as you bring your knees back in together, you'll roll back flat on your feet. So this is the movement we're playing with, letting the thigh bones roll out. Because the thigh bones spin in the socket of your pelvis, your knees point in different directions. Your knees move only because they're connected to your hips. So the movement is controlled by muscles around your hip joint, and your core responds to this. So as you allow the leg bones to move away from each other and then back together, be sure that you're moving in a range that's comfortable, that you're not getting any pinching or pain or discomfort in your hips. And also move in a range, move in a way that you're able to feel the responsiveness of your core. Good. One more movement at the hips here. Lovely. And then we'll come back up, standing once again. So we've worked on our breath. We've paid some attention to our feet, our connection to the earth. And then we've moved mindfully, gently through shoulders and hips. How do you feel? What's the change in your standing posture? And by posture, I don't mean are you stacked up any differently? Are your parts lined up? I don't mean alignment. I mean in your sense. How do you feel standing here? Wonderful. The next movement, we're going to use the chair once again. And we're going to, hands are going to be resting gently on the chair. Feet come back quite a ways. And then flexing from your hips. So your pelvis will just gently roll over the tops of your thigh bones so that your hands can rest gently on the back of the chair. And then the movement we're going to play with is bending your elbow and straightening it. Bend the elbow and straighten it. And you'll notice as you bend your elbow, your shoulder blade that sits on the back of your rib cage needs to slide away from your spine as your elbow bends. And then it slides back up towards your spine as your elbow is straightened. And again, with this movement, easy, easy, easy. Find the amount of movement, find the range here where you're not bracing or holding through your torso. Wonderful. And then the other side. Your breath stays easy. Ribs and chest still able to expand and relax. Now you may notice one elbow can bend further than the other. And it may just be that one shoulder blade is a little stickier, that there may just be a little limitation in the tissues between your shoulder blade and your ribs on that side if it doesn't bend as far. That's fine. Wonderful. Come on back up. The last movement we're going to explore in our responsive core practice here is a lunge. So stepping into just quite a high lunge. So we're not going so deep that your pelvis is rocking forward and then you're arching your back to get into your lunge. We're going to keep things a little more contained here. Good. A gentle lunge. Hands can come to heart center, and we'll add a little twist. So turning so that your ribs and your chest spin towards the bent knee that's in front. Wonderful. And then back to center. Turning. And then back to center. Easy, easy breath. Find the range where you don't need to brace, where your ribs feel like they're just floating above your pelvis, spinning side to side. And then we'll come to hold in the twist. The hand further away will reach forward towards the opposite knee. Let your shoulder blade slide away from your spine on that side, and then rest your hand down on your knee. The other hand will come back to rest on your hip. Let your shoulder blade on this side draw back towards your spine. Only pressing and pulling the shoulder blades as far. Find the amount of force that you can create while maintaining your easy breath. Wonderful. And we'll unwind and switch sides. I'm just going to turn around so you can see. An easy lunge, a gentle bend in both knees. Hands can come to rest at your chest. Keeping your chin in line with your fingers, you spin the other way, turning towards the front bent knee. And then exploring. Stay easy, easy in your breath. Then holding in your twist, reaching the arm across to opposite knee. Shoulder blade will slide away from your spine. And then the arm on the same side as your front bent knee will come back towards your hip. Shoulder blade pulled back towards your spine. Go easy here. No forcing. Forcing and bracing kind of go hand in hand. Feel how your core responds to this. Lovely. Then coming out of the twist, standing tall. One final movement, just a little side bend. So we'll let yourself come over to the side. Then the other arm can reach up only as far as is comfortable, maybe just coming to here. Maybe bringing the arm all the way up overhead. Easy breath. And switching sides. Again, only bringing the arm up as far as is comfortable through your ribs, through your low back, through your SI joint. And back to center. Then our final check-in here. Standing, having spent some time working through your feet, paying attention to hips and shoulder girdle, and how your core responds to those movements. How do you feel standing? Now you may be a little surprised, having read that this video is all about core work, and yet we didn't do a single plank or a single abdominal kind of exercise. We didn't do anything for, that activates those low back muscles. And my hope is that as a result, you feel lighter. When your core is actually responsive, you are more connected internally. Um, and there's a lightness, there's a movement from the bottom up that happens. And a lot of the traditional core exercises that we've all done and enjoy sometimes, um, those I would it would be really interesting the next time you're doing some of those to see if they help you feel lighter. There's a lot of bracing, a lot of forcing in those core exercises. Not for everyone, they don't have to be for everyone, but there's certainly a possibility for bracing. So check in the next time you're doing your more kind of traditional core exercises. Do you feel lighter? Do you feel more connected after having done those? Anyways, thanks for practicing with me. I hope you are all moving, feeling, and being well. I'll see you soon.